All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to go deeper into the rabbit hole of sobriety and addiction and talk about how enough's enough. If you've been on the fence, if you've been struggling to get off of alcohol or some hard drug, now's the only time to take care of it. I know it's really comforting to think that you have things in control. I know it feels really good to think that, just another day, just another week, and then I'll get clean. Folks, that doesn't work. I know because I've been there. So if you're really serious about not only your health, but staying alive, getting sober is your first and foremost number one goal. Here's the thing, guys. People will contact me wanting to get healthy. They'll ask me, what should I eat, yada, yada, yada. And some of these people are people who are struggling with alcoholism, people who are addicted to hard drugs, folks. Stop putting off the number one assault on your health. Sure, eating healthy while you're addicted to alcohol might keep you in better shape. I'm sure it will. But I've always recommended to people who are struggling with alcohol that, it's not even a recommendation, it's a fact. You're really never going to progress very much with your health, folks. If you're hooked on alcohol, if you're hooked on crack cocaine or cocaine, whatever it is. So one of the things that I always tell people is to do an inventory on their habits if they're interested in getting healthy. Look at your habits. Look at what you're doing cyclically. Look at what you're doing on a daily basis. Most of you guys deep down in your heart know the number one assault on your health already. And to really unchain yourself from to unchain yourself from the trap of bad health, you've got to get rid of those things that are causing the most harm. And if you're addicted to alcohol, folks, if you're addicted to a hard drug, that's obviously your number one, the number one thing causing you to be held back from getting healthy. So enough's enough, guys. I do my best to I don't want to say in a mamby-pamby fashion talk to people about sobriety, but I've looked back at my old videos on sobriety and I feel like I was almost enabling people to some extent by telling them that, if you relapse, it's okay, just dust yourself off. That's just typical rehashed sobriety coach nonsense, and I'm almost ashamed of myself for perpetuating some nonsense. But at the end of the day, I look back at where I was mentally when I said those things, and then, I forgive myself for saying those things because at the end of the day, I was just trying to make people feel a bit better about themselves if they fucked up. But I don't want to be under that umbrella anymore, especially as a sobriety coach, of which I consider myself to be. I don't have any credentials, folks, other than the fact that I was an alcoholic at one point and addicted to multiple things, and now I'm sober. If those aren't credentials enough, I don't know what will be. But long story short, folks, I don't have time anymore to kindly approach people about the vice in their life that is killing them. If a tiger was chasing someone in a park or after someone in a park and they were sitting there under an umbrella eating a sandwich oblivious to that tiger, I wouldn't say, "Hey buddy, there's a tiger coming after you." No, I'd yell at the top of my lungs to get the fuck up and run or do whatever you could. I don't know, climb a tree. It's just a metaphor. So folks, you guys hear my back crack just now? There's a way you can breathe through your nose and pull your shoulders up and crack the top bone right here on your spine. Excuse me. But guys, long story short, to stay on track and to not get off point, I don't have time anymore to teach people to go in a circle instead of going in a straight line. The quickest way from point A to point B is in a straight line. And folks, alcoholism is killing you. Drug addiction is killing you. There's no more time for just staying asleep. Alcoholism especially is all addictions are bad for the most part, folks. But then again, you can be addicted to good things like health. So not all addictions are bad, but addiction to alcoholism is going to kill you. It's going to potentially wind you up in jail. You might end up getting into a vehicle and killing a family or killing yourself. Folks, there's far too many potential problems with alcoholism and drug addiction than there are good things. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? It's all a choice, folks. At the end of the day, it's all a choice. And that's something that the mainstream, I don't want to say the media, but modern medicine and healthcare and most modern sobriety teachers, they're perpetuating this false idea that addiction is genetic and that alcoholism is a disease or, addiction is a disease. Folks, how can it be a disease when it takes your participation to put the bottle to your mouth? It's a choice. What it actually is it's not a disease. It's a lack of critical thinking and an inability to control your patterns, an inability to control your actions. So folks, I know here's the thing, excuse me. I didn't get much sleep last night and it's early morning. But how would I explain this? I know what it's like to lack the critical, I know what it's like to not harbor power over my actions, because there were times, multiple times in fact, where I'd go to the liquor store and every ounce of my mind would be telling me don't buy that alcohol, don't do it, but I would not listen to it. The real disease, if you want to call it that, is a lack of control over the mind and your inability to actually control what you do with your physical body. Your mind will give you signals that you're doing the wrong thing, but we don't know how to listen to it. That's the real issue. That's the real cancer here, because most of you guys who are struggling with addiction, every time you go to get whatever you're addicted to, you feel like guilt. You feel that you shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other, but you end up doing it anyway. That's the actual issue. A lack of ability to control your actions, because your actions are like on autopilot. It's like it's unconscious. You don't have control over your conscious actions, which exposes an even larger issue with your health. If you don't have some degree of control over your actions, what does that say? Is that a possession of sorts? Because if you're not in control of your own mind and your own body, then who is or what is? These are all very valid questions that you need to ask yourself. And that's why I always suggest that anyone going through not only addiction, but anyone interested in getting genuinely healthy, you have to do an inventory of your life. Look at your habits. Go into your bedroom, lay down on the bed, do the full body relaxation exercise, links in the description box below. Relax your body sufficiently, and then try to look at your life as if you are someone else. Try to look at your life from outside of yourself. And meditation is a very good way to do this. And when I mean meditation, I'm not talking about just stilling your mind. I'm more so talking about doing deep introspection. Talk to yourself. Ask yourself why you're addicted. We can communicate with ourselves, folks. We can make a lot of distance in a short amount of time if we calm the fuck down, get away from all the stimulation, and actually go into our own minds to try to fix the errors contained therein. You guys hear my back again? So I don't have much more time, guys, to try to help people who just like there's I'm not going to name any names, but there's some people that I've been working with for over 4 years who are still drinking a ton of alcohol, using drugs. And here's the thing, guys, at some point I have to realize that I've done everything I can for these people, and that at this point it's not up to me. It's not in my hands. I've provided certain people all the information and time that I could to try to help them. And folks, it gets to a point where when you keep throwing the life preserver over the boat to try to help people and they swim the opposite direction, do you keep doing it? I don't have time to do that because I have multiple people I'm working with and I have a life of my own where I'm dealing with my own shit. I'm trying to stay on point and walk the razor's edge, you name it. So to some extent, I have to let go of certain people. At some point it's in their hands. It's all in their hands. What am I saying? It is undeniably all in people's hands. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Again, folks, there's so much truth in that. You can lead a horse to fucking water, but you can't make them drink. And I'm not disappointed in people who are still struggling with addiction, because I've been there. But folks, again, I can't keep putting in energy into something that I've been doing for a very long time. And I give people a lot of, I don't want to maybe say leeway, but I try to be as patient with people as possible when it comes to addiction. And maybe that's a personal flaw in my end. And I should probably, I look back in hindsight and I look at, like, how would I say this, guys? Do you know how many times I've sat down with someone physically who's struggling with addiction and they're just out of control? They've lost control over their habits. And I've talked to them almost too kindly, too patiently. To some extent, you need to tell people that you're being stupid, you're better than this, what the fuck are you doing? Tough love is something that's going extinct here in this mamby-pamby ass world, folks. So the format of which I teach or try to educate people about how to get sober on this channel is going to change. It's going to change because my videos in the past, I know, have reached people. Thousands of people have left comments on my addiction videos, and hundreds of people, I shit you not, have left comments saying that these videos helped me get through the DTs. These videos inspired me to get healthy, to get off of alcohol. And that means the world to me, folks. But I can't help but think every night when I go to bed that maybe I can reach more if I just stop telling people what they want to hear. Oftentimes, when you tell people what they want to hear, all it does is enable them. Like, oh, you're going to be okay. You relapsed. It's all right. Just pick yourself up. It's not the relapse that matters. What matters is that how you get up and move forward after that. No, the relapsing is the problem. The continuity of shoving alcohol down your mouth is the problem. There's no more room to be patient with people when they're killing themselves and they're falling down a toxic hole that might end up not only harming them, but other people. Excuse me. There's no more room for that, guys. There's no more time for it. Long story short. So here's what it all comes down to, folks, at the end of the day. When you receive the information, or when you know, let's just put it that way, that you need to get sober, you have literally two choices. There's only two. You can keep going down the slippery slope that you've been going on, which has brought you nothing good, and you know that already. Or you can take a fork in the road, or you can go one direction, again, the slippery slope, or you can go the opposite direction and do what you know you need to do. If you're an alcoholic and you drink a lot of alcohol, you need to seek professional medical attention, excuse me. Because alcohol is legal, folks, but it's also one of the most dangerous drugs, and it is a drug. It's one of the most dangerous drugs to get off of abruptly if you drink a large amount of it. If you drink 3 beers a night, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who drink a fifth or more of like vodka or hard liquor every night. When you just abruptly stop, folks, you can go through serious withdrawals where you have tactile hallucinations, visual hallucinations, auditory hallucinations. You can really damage certain layers of your mind if you go through serious withdrawals, because it can cause what's known as depersonalization or derealization, where you kind of lose your own personal identity and you get lost in the midst of the identity that you're in when you're in the withdrawal. It's really fucking insane. It blows my mind that, it really blows my mind, guys, that alcohol is even legal. Now, I'm not saying that I think alcohol should be made illegal, because I like to think that we can be an intelligent species and be around toxic things and not use them. Just like Andreas Moritz said years ago, if you quit smoking cigarettes, you should keep cigarettes in your car and in your house. Because if you have to be away from something to not do it, it means that you're not actually sober, guys. I know that may sound crazy, but if you're sober only because you're hiding from something, you have not truly reached a foundation yet. And a foundation is essential. It's what we stand on, right? Again, if you, for instance, have to hide from things to not use them, it means that you're not sober, because the only reason, or the main reason, that you're not using them is because you're keeping distance from them. And I get it to some extent, folks, but when you've really gotten sober, you will know it. It's no like ifs, ands, or buts, I need to hide from the cigarettes. I need to do this. I need to do that. No. When you've finally reached a solid foundation with your sobriety, you're done and you know it. And a burden is lifted from you. The path opens for you and things become easy at that point. Sobriety is actually easy. That's one of the things that most people will never teach you in this mamby-pamby ass world. Because everybody's enabling everybody, especially in, I don't want to name any names, but certain groups, certain sobriety groups, I've been to them. I think they're a joke. They all refer to themselves as alcoholics. When they meet together, it's like, wait, but we're trying to get sober, but we're referring to ourselves as alcoholics. That's like having a disease that you cured somehow. And then going to a room full of people that want to, let me explain this, guys, because this is crucial. Excuse me, I'm a little rusty right now. That would be like having a disease that you cured, and once a week you met with another group of people who cured the same disease. And when you all talked amongst one another, you all referred to yourselves as still having the disease, which is gone. No, that's a spell. That's a play on words, and words are very powerful. And I remember I went to one of these groups and I said, my name is Brandon and I am not an alcoholic. And everybody kind of looked at me weird. Well, then why are you here? Well, because I'm a healed alcoholic. I'm no longer an alcoholic anymore. It's not a disease. It's a choice, folks. Is willingly walking into a bear trap a disease? Is driving your vehicle at 70 miles an hour on purpose into a wall a disease? Isn't everything a choice? Of course. The problem is that we are never taught how to have control over our minds and our habits here in hell, where we were forced to go to school and learn a bunch of stuff that can be applicable in today's world, but it has nothing to do with actually controlling your body and your mind. This channel is all about regaining or reacquiring lost power. What is power, folks? Power is being able to control your mind. Power is being able to stand in between the automatic functions of what your body wants, because your body and your mind have been trained to just act without thinking. There has to be a middle ground, folks. You have to be an intermediary. Reaction and stimulus. There has to be, or stimulus and reaction. Most people, it's stimulus, boom, reaction. Stimulus, boom, reaction. Stimulus, boom, reaction. There has to be stimulus, contemplation, and then proper reaction. You've got to turn things around. You've got to learn to question all of the stuff you've been clinging to. You've got to do an inventory. So again, I plan on producing a lot more content on sobriety, but things are going to be a little bit different under this roof. And if you don't like it, folks, unfortunately, I'm okay with that. I don't have time to try to help people who don't want to help themselves and want to go on this like emotional carousel of being a victim. You are not a victim if you're an addict. You got yourself into a situation where you started doing some bad things, and you probably didn't have bad intentions when you started doing it, but now it's controlling your life. And you have two options. You can either keep going down the slippery slope that you're going down that leads to absolute uncertainty. You might die tomorrow. You might die in a week. You might kill someone. Who knows? You might wind up in jail the rest of your life. Not a very good thing to be doing. Am I wrong? Why would you want to stay on that? And why would you want to be patient on your healing away from that path? Or you can alternatively walk the high road, seek help, get sober, and never look back. Peace be with you.